So we'll see in
I did not know you had to wait 6 to 8 months for that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, good thing I'm not excited. I'm not looking forward to. Hey everyone, my name is Marijune.
And I'm Jake.
We are Wander Forward. We are a couple in our early 50s, recently retired, and now we are living in France.
Yeah, we've been in France for just over 3 months. As we record this, we're in mid-April. We arrived here in France in early January. We first stayed in Montpellier. We were there for almost 3 months.
Yes.
And now we're
11 weeks and 2 days.
Yeah, and now we're in Toulouse. We've visited quite a few cities along the way, and we've learned a lot of lessons. And this particular video, we're going to go into quite a few items and lessons we've learned, things we've experienced, stuff we want to share with you.
Some of the items that we will be discussing with you today are items such as acquiring our French phone numbers, validating our visas, getting our French bank account, of course, getting the passports for our dog, making them EU residents, sharing with you our experiences with the French medical system, making good use of the public transportation, and eventually leasing a car, applying for a driver's license, and finally, living as residents here in France. We're also going to share with you some of the things that we find that we're not very fond of, but we're going to talk about that towards the end.
So getting our phone numbers is obviously really important, and that needs to be done on day one. You can even do it before you arrive. The most cost-effective way is to get it after you arrive. The only problem is there's going to be a window from when you arrive to when you actually obtain your number. We went through quite a few different phone companies. Orange, Soch. We were unsuccessful with them. They wanted us to show a lease. Basically, we need to show that we're paying bills and that we are residents here in France, and we had to prove that. How we were able to finally work through this was we were able to get a phone number through free. Not that it was free.
Not that it was free. Not free at all.
The phone company is free, F-R-E-E. And they have, you just walk in and you just are able to punch in your information into a kiosk, and then voila, you have a French phone number. I must say, I think it is approximately $15 US, I can't remember, maybe 16, for a month's worth of billing, and that covers all the data that we need. I think it was about 150 gig a month. Mm-hmm. So we're covered, we have French phone numbers, and we have data. One of the most important steps that have to be accomplished when you're on a visa stay is validating your visa. And we wanted to make sure we did that right, and did it right away.
Right away.
We actually have 3 months to do it, but we did it right away, right after we got our phone number, because when I filled out the forms online, it did want our phone numbers. So you want to have a phone number before you validate your visa. They did say that they're going to send us information for us to show up for our medical appointment.
We have not received that yet.
It hasn't happened yet. In the email that they sent us, they said that they're going to send us an email with that information in the area where we validate our visa. So I'm assuming at some point we need to make our way back to Montpellier for this medical examination, but so far they haven't sent us an email.
Yeah, it's getting kind of scary because it almost feels like, did we do something wrong? Was there a misstep that we might have done that's causing such a delay? I don't know. If you have gone through the same problem or have had the same experience, please let us know. It's worrisome. You know, we've been here for 3 months and we just haven't received anything. So although we did receive an email saying that our visas are validated, we're still waiting to see a doctor or, you know, to get our medical exam. So I'm just hoping that we didn't mess that up, because if we did, I think we've passed the window. If we did, yeah.
Hopefully we did it right.
Jake and I have listened to a lot of people talk about opening up a bank account here in France. The one bank that stood out was Crédit Mutuel. We heard in France it's really difficult for Americans to open up a bank account at any random banks. So there was a lot of positive reviews about Crédit Mutuel, so we ended up going with Crédit Mutuel. I had to say the experience wasn't really that difficult. It was nerve-wracking because we didn't know if we had all the proper paperwork, and the banker that we were speaking with, she spoke very, very little English. She tried and we tried, and in the end, we were successful. We did manage to open up a bank account, but it's not as easy as it is in the United States. I mean, in the United States, you can be 18 years old, by yourself, walk into a bank, open up an account, walk out, and you've got one.
Here, they asked for a lot of information.
A lot of things.
They even wanted last year's tax returns. They wanted bank account printouts from our accounts in the United States. They wanted a printout from the county showing that we owned our home back in the United States.
And our businesses.
Yeah, so they wanted a lot
They wanted a lot of things. I almost felt like as if we were signing our life away.
Yeah, it makes sense because they don't have a credit check system like we have in the United States. Basically, they're doing their check of us to make sure that we're worthy to have an account at their bank.
Which is completely understandable, but coming from a place of how we are used to how things work, we think it should be simple. We think it should be, why is it requiring so much? And it's something that we need to learn to adjust and accept that the system here is just not the same as the system that we're used to. So therefore we need to pivot.
Yeah. Next, let's talk about we had to get passports for our dogs. Yes, there was quite a bit we had to do, and we talked about in our previous videos about our dogs, getting them into France. There was a lot of paperwork.
This is prior to us coming
here. Prior to arriving, the USDA, visits to the vets, they're getting them microchipped. And once we're here, we had to bring them to the local vet, have them checked, and we get little booklets for them. We get passports for the dogs. So they have EU passports, and that allows them to freely travel amongst all the EU countries.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have a friend that was in disbelief, so he had to send them a picture of their passport. I'll show you the picture of their passports, just so you know what it looks like. I thought it was going to have a picture of the dogs, but it didn't. It would have been...
Has a place for a picture, but...
It would have been really cute. Maybe we can just put one on there.
I think we can.
For,
it has
fun
a place.
and giggles.
It says here's where the picture goes, but the vet didn't seem to care that it didn't have a picture.
And the thing about this was we had a 30-day window from the time that they were checked, when they were seen by the vet, to them getting processed, and we needed to send a check. Being account holders, you would think, okay, it shouldn't be that hard to send a check, right? And first of all, why would you even send a check? It's 2026. You can do everything online. No, they're very adamant about it. You cannot send cash. There is no way for you to do it online. You have to send a check.
As a matter of fact, we received some assistance from a gentleman at Crédit Mutuel, one of the employees there.
So nice.
Matter of fact, he couldn't even believe that we couldn't pay for it online. Apparently, pretty much any service in France, he says, you can pay online, except apparently registering your pet. They require a check. Most places don't even accept checks anymore, he says, here in France, which it's the same in the United States. A lot of places don't even want to accept a check. He called our vet.
Oh my gosh.
He tried calling the agency for us. The government agency. He really did.
He went way out of his way. We just wanted to share what a pleasant experience we had. The person at the front desk that allows people to come in was very helpful. It really helped that he spoke English very well. We came in and asked the question on how we can write a check so that we can register our dogs.
Yeah, because they need a check. The government agency that's where we register our dogs, they want a check.
And he got on the phone and was gonna find out information. Unfortunately, he didn't get a response, so he took down the information so he can call them back. And we just want to say that we had such a great experience, great interaction. They were very helpful. They were just very, very kind. And so just wanted to share that.
It's been a great experience for us at Crédit Mutuel.
Very pleasant. Okay, bye for now.
Basically, he shared a story with us. He had spent some time in the United States when he was young, and he got some help from other people. So he was extremely helpful for us.
He was returning the favor.
And we ended up ordering checks. got them delivered to the bank, and then we wrote our checks and mailed them in. And we also had to learn how to write a check.
Thank goodness for YouTube.
Yeah.
It's the same, yet it's a little different.
Yeah.
The placement of where you put things is, and then of course you have to know your numbers, and you have to know how to spell it, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of talk about how wonderful the French medical system is, and we have actually firsthand experienced it. Well, more him than me. So why don't you share with them how your experience has been?
Yeah, I've had quite a few. Went to an urgent care. I had a primary care visit for the prescriptions. Went to see a dentist because Pepper ate my mouth guard. In my experience, it's been really easy to find a doctor to see. I'm on my way to my first doctor's appointment, although I did go to an urgent care when I first got here for something pretty minor. Today is my first general medicine appointment. I must say it was super easy to make the appointment on Doctolib. I think it was doctolib.fr, but I can't remember for sure. I guess I can throw a link in this video. They had me answer quite a few questions since it's my first appointment. I have a couple prescriptions that I need to get, so I need to go in and get things started. Super easy to find a doctor on Doctolib, which is the national medical site in France. So much easier than in the United States. I don't know how the experience will be. We'll see how that goes. I'm not on the French healthcare system, therefore I'll be paying out of pocket for my appointment. I'm walking down through the street here. Hopefully I'm able to find it and find my way to wherever inside the building I need to go. I'm pretty close, so wish me luck on that. I'll let you know how things go when I'm done. I think overall it's a pretty nondescript building with some doctor's offices. So I guess I'll head in and see how it goes. Well, I don't know which way to go. There or there? I think it's there. Okay, here we go. And it says, ring to enter. Maybe. There it went. So I just finished my appointment with with a general practitioner here in France, and it was a really easy process. It was easy to make the appointment. She spoke English, which that was a choice when I was making the appointment. You could find somebody that spoke English. She gave me paperwork with basically a signed and stamped letters that I need to bring for a couple follow-ups to some specialists. So maybe bring a folder with you. I think that would be good to bring a folder if you're going to go see a doctor, if they're going to give you a follow-up. And the total cost all in was 30 euro. I didn't pay with the French medical insurance. I just paid out of pocket. So the cost to pay for the appointment with a general practitioner that I just paid was 30 euro. Not bad. I think that's less than a copay that I had to pay back home.
I have actually experienced a doctor myself. I went to go see an eye doctor, and although the experience was quite easy, I had a little bit of a, let me just say, after 3 months in France, I finally saw a doctor, and I saw an eye doctor. And let me tell you, that experience was a little stressful. I'm gonna go back to our apartment, and I think I will talk about it a little bit more when I get there. I am back in our Airbnb, and I want to share a little bit about my first experience going to the eye doctor. It is my very, very first time in all the 3 months that we have been living here that I have needed to go to the doctor. I actually didn't really need to go, but why not? It's been a year since I had my eyes checked, and it's just a good idea. Jake went a couple days ago, earlier this week, and so he encouraged me to go, so I did. I went by myself. There were people at the front. There was one that was a check-in person, and then there was a checkout person. And they were really friendly and they spoke some English. I had to wait. Then I had a tech take a look at my eyes. I told them that I'm sorry, I don't speak very much. I speak very little English, very little French. And I asked if she knew how to speak English, and she said yes. So she started asking me questions in English, which was great. And then when I came to read the letters from a distance, I was reading them in French. And it's funny because there were some times that she would respond to me or say something to me in French, and I'd be like, and so finally I told her, I was like, I'm sorry, my French is very, selective. I don't know a whole lot yet, but I'm trying. And she just laughed and she said, it's okay. And then it was my turn to see the actual ophthalmologist. She was an older lady and she was really friendly in the beginning. But then when I told her that I didn't understand what she was saying, I said, je ne comprends pas. She had this like disappointed look in her face, and basically she said, from what I understood, okay, she was speaking in French, but from the body language, from her facial expression, and also some of the words that I was picking up from what she was saying, she asked me if I was living here, and I said yes. And basically it was like she was asking, why do I not know how to speak French? Again, she was speaking in French. I can only pick up the words that I know, and I had to basically put that together and come up with my own conclusion. So I could be like 75% wrong. However, I responded and I said that I was trying, je prends le français. And when I said that, her demeanor changed a little bit. She softened a little bit. However, at one point she was trying to explain to me if I wanted to get basically bifocals prescription, and she was using her hands. She was asking me if I wanted the prescription on the bottom, and up top nothing, and I told her no, and she looked confused. And I asked her if I could speak in English, and I kid you not, she took off her glasses and she goes, I was like, and I told her, I said, I've tried it, but it would give me a headache. And she says, ah. Anyway, the rest of the visit was okay. I think she was trying to be very patient with me, and I think she was trying to be understanding. She was, like I said, she was an older lady, maybe because she's older, and she doesn't, her English speaking was much, 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 much smaller than my French speaking, and rightly so. She lives in France and she is French, therefore she should really not need to know how to speak English. However, we made it through the appointment. I got my prescription. On the way out, I heard her say to everybody that said goodbye before me, avec plaisir, which means with pleasure. And I heard what I caught was she was about to say it, but then she stopped and she said something else. And I think she either said, good luck with your learning French, or keep learning French, or something, but she did say français. So that's my experience. I wasn't nervous when I got there. I felt like a big girl, maybe because the other people did speak English. That part when I went to see the actual ophthalmologist, and it was a huge, huge challenge to communicate. That was a little nerve-wracking for me. And I am in a different country with a different language, and I am learning. I have to just continue to accept that these interactions will occur until I get to a place where I can actually communicate well enough, and I just got to keep going and striving for that. Other than that, I'm back at our apartment. I'm alive. I didn't die. And so it wasn't super bad. And there it is. Until the next appointment, we'll see how it goes. Okay.
That was Marijune's experience, and I'm glad she was able to experience a little bit about the French medical system. I think it's great.
It's so far. It wasn't bad. I mean, overall the experience was great. So I have to say, I really don't miss driving. I mean, I guess there is a little bit of freedom that come along driving, but I can walk pretty much anywhere, and public transportation in France, what we have experienced, has been incredible. In Montpellier, they had trams that were running everywhere, and it was so easily accessible. Yeah. And we were able to acquire a free tram card because we were going to school. So We were able to just use that to get on and off the tram, although they never really checked it often.
Twice I saw them. And when they do check...
Oh yeah, you better have it or else you're going to get in trouble.
They showed up on the train in force and they checked everybody. And there was a lady right next to us. She did not have a ticket and she was in trouble.
Yeah, but my point is, it's so easy. You just have to make sure you have that tram pass so that when they do come and check for passes, then you would readily have it. And it made our traveling, our exploring really simple. We also used the trains to visit nearby cities when we were in Montpellier. And it's such a great experience. I really like that. Now here in Toulouse, we don't see trams like the way we saw them in Montpellier.
They have in the local area. They have the metro,
which we haven't used yet.
Which it's underground.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so we don't see it as much.
But it's available, and I love that I don't need to have a car because already I'm stressed out whenever. I mean, I look at these cars that come by the street right outside our window, and if there's a truck that's like picking up trash or whatnot, there's a line of cars out in the back behind it waiting because the road's so small, you can't just pass them. You literally have to wait. So for me, much better. I really appreciate the public transportation. I appreciate how I can walk everywhere and love that.
And we did lease a car. There's a program here in France for people who are new to France, and it's a direct from the manufacturer program where you can lease a car for up to 6 months, and there's actually no taxes. I think the intent of the program is to get us to like their car and car brand. We have the option to purchase the vehicle when we're done with the lease. We currently have a lease through the middle of July, and it's a nice little SUV.
I mean, okay, so I talked about how I'm not excited about driving, although I am excited about having a car in a sense, because when we first got to Montpellier, we went to IKEA via tram. You know, we had to be very mindful not to buy a lot of things or big items because we would have to haul them in the tram with our dogs, carry them all the way to our apartment. With a car, we can go to the big store, like we went to the big store when we first got here in Toulouse, and you know, we were able to pack up the trunk with all the groceries that we had purchased, and so that was nice. And we do have plans on visiting the countryside. You know, the trams and things like that, or trains, they don't really go into the countryside, so that's where the car will be very useful for us.
We have applied for our driver's license. Colorado driver's license do have reciprocity with France, so we can turn them in to get French driver's licenses.
Thank goodness, yeah.
I submitted mine about a month ago. We just did Marijune's. I think I made a little mistake.
It can be a little confusing
because
was
confusing in an area where it said name 1, name 2. I put name 2 as her middle name, and I think it wanted her her current last name, not her maiden name. Anyway, because when it sent her an email for confirmation,
they referred to
addressed
me
her as
my previous
her maiden name. And then I went in to try to make an update to it. You can't update it. It says wait 6 to 8 months. Can't update it. Can't even cancel it. There's no turn it off button. So we'll see.
I did not know you had to wait 6 to 8 months for that. Oh my goodness. Well, good thing I'm not excited. I'm not looking forward to, be driving anytime soon. So.